Hello everyone, Dibz here and welcome back. It's been a while, but finals are completely done for me, and so we're coming back strong with a Tracer analysis. Today we're going to be looking at Genpollo, who's going to be playing Tracer for us on the King of the Hill map, Lijiang Tower. A very nice map. I really enjoy Tracer on this map a lot actually. And I usually play her pretty much the entirety of all three maps. So yeah, let's take a look at it. It looks like he's going to be 3 stacking as well. And he is currently mid gold. Not exactly sure what he's trying to get to, but let's get right down to it. So starting off on the first point, it's going to be Garden. Most of the time, Pharah is pretty popular on this map as well. But I still feel like Tracer can do pretty well. You just gotta watch out for the Pharah most of the time. And yeah, so it looks like he's hooking onto the left side.
You guys are fucked.
Kind of not too bad of a positioning because most of the time, a lot of the Pharah play is usually on this side, right? Whenever there's a Pharah here on the side, you always kind of want to avoid the Pharah whenever you're playing Tracer. So I usually like flanking into the mid. Basically, instead of going to this left side or even going on to the right, it's not as good. I just like going straight down the middle, right here. Right here.
A real girl.
Instead of just going left or right, just hook straight towards the middle, or I mean just go straight towards the middle, blink across the bridge so you can get onto the point, and then if your team is going, or if their enemy team is going left, you can hook left. If the team is going right, you can go right. Right, because what happens if you are going left and all of a sudden everybody is going white room, then well, you're kind of like on the opposite side of the map, right? It's going to take you a long time to get there. And the same thing, what if you go towards the white room but everybody's going towards bridge, then you're just like, okay, well, I'm kind of stuck in the area. I have to go all the way around until the other side. So most of the time, I like to flank, or I like to go straight down the middle and just blink across the bridge. Puts you in a position where you can reach either bridge or the white room really quickly. And it's kind of like in the middle ground. It's always good to be in the middle ground, I feel like, when it comes to Tracer, especially on King of the Hill. But yeah, it looks like your Hanzo's getting a good first pick. And good job chasing after the support. Not bad. I do see a little bit of over blinking. If you guys haven't seen my most recent Tracer blink management guide, I do talk about unnecessary blinking. So right here, when you are attacking a support in the backline, or anybody in the backline, to be completely honest, if nobody's looking at you, if nobody is firing at you, and you're not taking any damage, there's no pressure, don't bother blinking or recalling. So right here, right? So you're shooting at the Mercy, nobody even notices you. Nobody notices you. You're getting free shots off, like you wasted 2 blinks already, and you're down 1 blink, and you're about to use your recall. Those are 2 wasted blinks that you could be using later on in the fight. You don't know what could happen later on, you know, but it's always good for you to have as many blinks as you can in the fight, no matter what. Don't try to waste them as much as possible. And if you're safe, just don't use them. Just don't use them. So like right here, you're not blinking at all, which is okay, because the Roadhog isn't really doing anything toward you. Right? He's just huffing and puffing, which is fine. Trying to go after the support. Always a good thing. But it looks like your team was taken up by the Tracer on point. I feel like going after the people on point is more important than kind of like going outside of the point, even if it's support. Since Tracer was the only one contesting on the point, she should be the first person to die. It doesn't really matter since the enemy team is kind of like on the outside doing whatever they're doing. They're not even really focusing on trying to cap the point, right? So if you take the point, or if you take people off the point as soon as possible, that forces them onto the point to come to you anyway. So try to get rid of people on the point first thing before going off to the side if you can. Also, don't throw a post bomb on a Tracer unless you know for a fact that she has no cooldowns. Never stick a Tracer. Try not to ever stick a Tracer. It's typically a bad idea because she can either recall it really quickly or she can blink out of it. Unless you know for a fact that she doesn't have recall. That's the only time. But even then, you don't even need a post bomb, I don't think. Okay, so at this point, you see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 people already on the point. Your entire team is dead and you are the only one. Now, at this point, even if you stall for a little bit, you don't even have any percentage. You only be stalling for a few seconds, and I think it would be better just to back up. It would definitely just be better to back off and regroup with your team, because now you're staggered even more, and now they have to wait for you as well. So yeah, if a point is lost, just back up if you can.
I'm down.
Alright, looks like that's 1 pick off of you guys. You guys are uneven at the moment. You guys are down 1. And down 2. Even at this point, I would say to back up, group up with your team, but your team is already pushing through. So it's kind of tough because when it comes to the game sense, like diamond and below, a lot of people find it really difficult to kind of group up together even after you lose 1 or 2, right? And it can also go different ways. Even if you're down 2, it could be a 4v6 and somebody who just plays well overall can just swing the tide in your favor. So I feel like it's good to just follow your team. Even if your team is going onto the point, like it's better for you to kind of support them instead of just like let them go on their own, right? Because if they're already going on to, okay, so technically, first of all, if they're down 2, they shouldn't be going on to the point because they're down 2. It's an uneven fight. But even if you're telling them to get off the point, but they're still going, you might as well just try to help them anyway, right? So I think this is good what you're doing. It's better than to just sit back and just wait and just let them die and then just come back and not do anything, you know? But right here as well, you do have a Roadhog on the point and also a Pharah coming to the outside. I feel like you should be focusing anybody that's on the point first. Pharah is kind of alone on her own right here, but she's kind of a hard person to pick out, especially if you have a soldier on your team. You have a soldier and a diva that could really take care of her. And your prime target should be those that are on the point, especially if they're right next to you. All right, they're right next to you and they're trying to take the point right here. You could have been focusing the baby diva as well. Yeah, try not to focus the Pharah as much as Tracer. You can tell your team to focus the Pharah, but you shouldn't be focusing her if there are other people who are nearby. If there are other targets to get those targets first. The only time I would go after a Pharah is if you catch her out of position, and if you're like 1v1ing her or something like that. Or if you can get a good chance to one-clip her, then yeah. But you're kind of like a far range from her, right? So not really, not much you could have really done there. Okay, getting free ult charge. Backing up, backing up. Don't want to poke too far. Don't want to get hooked here. Ooh, kind of risky for one. Risky for one is because you dove in when you didn't have recall, especially against a Roadhog, because he can one-shot you, especially at this range. At this range, he can one-shot you if he's really close, and also he can one-shot you if he's mid-range. But most of the time, if I don't have recall, I try not to dive in as much, because if he hits you once and you're like half health, then you don't really have an escape route, right? You don't really have anywhere to go. But aside from that, I would try not to ever stick a Roadhog if I don't know whether his heal is off cooldown. If his heal, like his health and puff, his self heal, if his self heal is off cooldown, okay, you know for a fact it's off cooldown, then go ahead and stick him. But you don't know if it's off cooldown at this point. He might have it, because if you pulse him, right, he's just gonna heal it right there. Now he's getting all of his health back, and you're actually just feeding him charge, and you just use your ult and you wasted it. So never stick a Roadhog unless for a fact you know that his self heal is off cooldown, for one. However, if he's in a group of people, then okay, it might be okay to stick him. But aside from that, if you're 1v1ing him, don't try to stick him unless you know for a fact it's off. And right now you're at 30 health because you used your cooldown and you can't get out. So try to use your, whenever you down recall, try to be a little bit more safe. Don't try to like jump in. Don't be super dangerous with it. Unless you're trying to contest or something like that, right?
Come on, man. How do we do so good and then get no kills?
It looks like your team is getting a little bit tilted here. Or that soldier. Platinum out of everybody that's gold. But it's not, you guys aren't doing too bad. You guys aren't doing too bad. Doing okay. Alright, pushing in.
Come to the edge, Diva, come to the edge so I can fly up. Fuck.
At this point, yeah, I would be trying to poke out to the right side. Trying to flank a little bit. Trying to go to the opposite way that your team is going. Your team looks like they want to go bridge and they got poop off in that direction. But out here, like if your team is already down again, like I said, your team was already down like 2. Your Mercy was down. She fell off the map. And your Diva just died. So it's kind of an uneven fight, especially, or even after you got that pick on the McCree. You guys are still down 1. It's still kind of dangerous. And none of your team is here. I would kind of just back off a little bit. Just wait a little bit until your team kind of groups up. And then when they start pushing a point, then you start attacking. You never want to go on to the point, or you never want to like try to initiate as Tracer. It's really difficult because, well, if everybody knows that you're coming from one direction, they're just going to turn around and just going to kill you in one shot, right? So yeah. But also, don't try to try not to stick a Diva from the front. It's very dangerous sticking a Diva from the front because she can eat it very easily. Most Divas, whenever they see a Tracer blinking in, they will automatically defense matrix because they will expect a bomb coming in. Once you get higher level, it will be very often where you try to blink towards the Diva and she automatically just defense matrix. And then if you throw a bomb, it's going to get eaten. So try not to stick a Diva from the front. You can either, the best way is to stick it from the back. Basically blink behind her, do a 180 and then just stick her like that. It's the best way to do it. Least risk to get it eaten.
Yeah.
And sometimes I do think it's worth it to get a D.Va out of the mech if she is like, if your
Got picks.
Zarya is trying to get a grav, you can just try to stick her, get her out of the mech really quickly. Alright, nice focusing on the D.Va when she's out of the when she's out of the mech. Very nice. So she can't get back in.
6.
And as a 1v1 McCree.
Oh my god, shut up.
Ah, I see what you tried to do there. I saw what you tried to do there. So typically when you're going against a McCree, a good strategy is to blink in and then wait for like half a second and then blink back out to bait the flash. But if you look at the distance, he was kind of behind the wall already. He was kind of behind the stone. So this was kind of useless. He didn't really do anything. Not only that, he is running away from you. If he's running away from you and he isn't looking at you, he's not going to flash you, right? So the only time I would try to do this blink trick or this bait trick is if you know that the McCree is focusing you. If he's looking directly at you and he's running away, then that's okay. But the best time to do it is when he's in a 1v1 fight with you. Because even if he's running away, he will try to flash you sometimes. But usually if they're running away, they're kind of scared, you know. So there's no point to kind of bait the flash if it's not going to be coming anyway. Oh, and also right here, when your team is being really aggressive here, like you have your D.Va coming onto the side, he's doing a lot of damage, the McCree is down especially. Basically, you don't have any kind of real life or real close danger at this point. The McCree can't flash you, so what you can do is if your team is being aggressive, you can just blink in really aggressively, deal a lot of damage, and then if you're about to die, just recall back out into this bridge and you'll be safe again. I like to do that, lets you, build ultimate charge, and it's pretty safe. Double blink in, get a clip off on somebody, build up a lot of ult charge, recall back. It's kind of like really good poking strategy in my opinion. It usually only works though when you're being really aggressive, because when your team is being all up in their face, there's a lot of targets for them to focus. But if you're doing it like on your own, then don't do it, right? Because if you're the only one doing it, then they're just all gonna look towards you and you're gonna die. So when you have multiple targets of your team going forward, blink in, be aggressive, and then recall out for safety. Try that out. You guys are down. You guys are even at the moment, 1v1. Down a Reaper. Okay. You guys are getting kind of pushed here, but you guys are holding the bridge, which is not too bad. Alright, they're all coming to bridge. Yeah, looks like you got. Ooh, nice recall. Recalled out of that hook. At this point, though, it's kind of scary. I think I would just try to get people off the point instead of chasing people. Okay, not bad. You got the tracer. Focusing on baby D.Va. Nice bomb. Nice. Good job. That's nice. It's a good nade. I mean, you did miss, but then it was okay. You still ended up getting a kill. Unfortunately. Or fortunately, you were able to get that kill. I think you were trying to get the Roadhog. So whenever I try to throw a post bomb, I try to be a little bit closer when I throw them. When I throw it, right? If you can, try to be a little bit closer. This is a little bit of a far distance to try to throw it. Right? If you want to get a stick, because the thing is, if you throw up when you throw up in the air, it has like a travel time, right? And it gives like maybe like a 2 to 3 second window before it actually sticks or it blows up. It gives a lot of time for people to run away from it. Try to be a little bit closer. Try to be in their face so you get that stick and it starts blowing up faster. It'll be a little bit more consistent, in my opinion. But nice recall on that though. Most of the times, McCree's like to flash after they roll, but it didn't look like he had his flash up. Okay, nice. Nice. Good hold. Good. Ooh, a little distracted there. Yeah, getting hooked by the Roadhog. A little bit of overconfidence. It can actually screw you over a lot of the times. So I would say even if you do get the point, try to push up a little bit further and see what's coming, right? And try to like stall them off the point. Because right now you have 3 blinks, right? You have the point. Everybody's on the point. I would say just use like a blink to get up forward and try to see who's coming and try to stall them and distract them off the point. Because there's a lot of things you can do as Tracer. Even if you're about to get the point, anything can change. Anything can happen. You can get another Lucio coming onto the point to just try to stall, or this Roadhog can come and try to hook you, and you can be in crap. Yeah, there's a Lucio right there. Just zip by. So even if you guys are seeming to get the point, it's not over yet. It's never really over until you guys actually take it. So try not to get a little bit too distracted when that happens.
Oh, man. Every time I'm on there, like nobody's around.
Yeah, this cruisy guy seems to be very
Told the guys I got ult. Old Hogs got ult too. Be on
pretty
point, be on point.
not toxic, but he's kind of like
Point. Let's do this.
seems like as if he thinks he's doing everything, which is kind of the mindset with a lot of people. Because you're doing a lot. Don't say that you're not doing a lot. You are doing pretty well. Yeah, and your team is just stalling the point here at this point. And it looks like you guys are just staggering over and over. Yeah, you're not gonna be able to get it. Unfortunate. So I mean, that one move definitely could have done a lot better. Overall, as a team, I think if you didn't die there, it could have actually made a big difference. You might have been able to stall more. You might have been able to get some key picks, especially with Lucio coming onto the point. So just try not to get too overconfident, I would say. It can happen sometimes. Anything could happen. So yeah. Anyways, going on to round 2. See what's going on here. All right. So for night market, I typically like to go off onto the right here. It's really good for you depending on what your team is doing. If you're on this right side here, it allows you to flank here because of the fact that if they have an enemy tracer and they're coming this way, you can just like try to duel her out and try to kill her ASAP. And if you can get that really good pick, it's really nice because then your team could be really aggressive and the enemy chaser is not going to come and try to like annoy your backline, right? It's really good for that. But yeah, I like to flank around to the side. Pretty good. Flanking around the middle is usually kind of dangerous because of a lot of spam. Nice. Nice blink. Okay, and this is a pretty good... Yeah, I would agree going after the Pharah because she's easy to reach at this moment right here, right? Because before, the Pharah was kind of far off to the side and she was like hovering over the bridge and it's just kind of like a little bit far distance. But right here, after you kill the McCree, she's pretty much free. She's alone. Might as well, you know, she's here. And you can kill her off, so not bad. Pretty good. But you did get 2 and your team just ended up losing this fight. So just back off. I would say back off. Okay, not bad. And if your team is actually... Yeah, see, at this point right now, you guys have about... I think you guys have 5 around here, right? But you killed that Pharah kind of late, which is good. Because now the Pharah is flying back. If your team can group up really, really quickly and just push the point right now, since you and the soldier backed off, you guys can contest and get the point 6v5 because the Pharah is still flying back from the spawn, right? So this is really good as to why you should not stagger. If you don't stagger, you can take an early fight and have more numbers than the enemy team. So it's really nice to just try to do that. See, you guys are already here. We're all grouped up. And the Pharah still isn't here yet. Pharah's coming from spawn right now. So if you guys just pushed up a little bit earlier, you guys would have been able to take this fight without the Pharah for long. Just try to see if you can tell your team to just push up and just say, hey, you know, I killed the Pharah late into the fight. She's not going to be coming back until so-and-so, however many seconds, or maybe like 10, 15 seconds, however long it takes. And I think that's really important to kind of like tell your team as to when to push and when not to push. You can tell your team when not to push and when to push. You don't be afraid to be the shot caller. It's completely fine. It's better to have a shot caller than not a shot caller at all, especially when it comes to solo queue. Yeah, solo queue, and also when you're just in general just queuing with other people as well. Oh. Interesting. I heard that stick, but it didn't really do anything. All right, nice stick. Nice stick.
Alright, we gotta hold this shit.
Yeah, just don't overextend.
It's talking about not overextending, very important as well. However, if your team just starts to push and you find them to be aggressive, then go ahead and try to support them. Don't let them die. Don't let them die on their own. That's usually kind of bad. However, it depends though. If you are a support though, that's different, right? Because if you are a support, especially Mercy, going after somebody or chasing after your team is bad if they're in a bad position because it puts yourself in danger. However, if you're Tracer, you can help a little bit and you can recall. And in case things go bad, you can get out of there. So as Tracer, it's okay to kind of support your team when they're diving in the backline, especially when it's deep. However, if you're support, it's a different story. So that's why I just want to, make that clear in case if you're support, don't dive in with your team if they're doing something very aggressive. Okay, but as Tracer, it's okay.
They're gonna go from the left. They're coming from the left.
Yeah.
A little bit of indecision right there. I feel like right here would have been nice for you to just keep going towards the back. Because you wasted a little bit of time right there. I feel like you definitely could just keep going back. Positioning yourself in the back line is completely okay.
Yeah, as soon as
Completely
we
fine.
fucking-
McCree behind.
So this is a strong position for you because you can just deal damage and make them spread the amount of
Take everybody else out.
attention that they have. And they could deal quite a bit.
Be on point. Be on point. Last two. Be on point.
Okay, so right now you guys actually have the point, so it's good for you to kind of contest, and try to get as much percentage that you can get. So that wasn't bad. That was pretty good. If you already have the point, it's good to kind of like just milk all of the amount of percentage that you can get and just stall. However, if it's like the very first point and you guys haven't even taken it yet, then it doesn't even really matter because you're not gaining a certain amount of percentage. You're just feeding them ult charge. Unless you know for a fact that you can get really good ult charge super quickly, then I would say just back off. But getting ult charge is really important as well if you can stall at the same time. So, all right, so you guys are down your main hit scan for the Pharah, so that's kind of a bad thing. Very bad. Seems like your Genji just decided to just get onto the point and just knock out 2 people though. And yeah, it's good to kind of push off of that since you guys are up at the moment. Focusing on the Tracer.
We're up 2 on them right now. We're up 2 on them.
Yep.
Okay, you guys are up. You're up.
Cars one.
Oh, okay, well, I wouldn't have stuck the Roadhog. I think you would have been able to kill him without it. But you did get a double kill. In hindsight, it was good, but usually I would try not to stick a Roadhog because I didn't know whether he uses tough up or not.
They're all gonna come grouped up again, probably.
But yeah, try to use your recall a little bit more frequently. Try to use it a little bit more frequently. I did see a few times where you had recall on cooldown a lot, or it was off cooldown a lot. Use it a little bit more liberally. I have a problem too. I don't use it enough. Okay, that's good. Nice. Now they got a Junkrat. You kind of want to stay away from him at this point. Okay. And your team is popping ults. You guys are getting a double kill. Okay, right here at this point, you guys should be being a little bit aggressive here. Like right there, I could have used my recall there too. Because you didn't seem like you were getting any healing at all as well. Right? So you took a lot of damage right there. 78. So that's half of your life. That's already half of your life. If you start counting in the back of your head, 3, 2, 1, and nobody is like starting to heal you at all and nobody notices you, just recall. It would be really dangerous for you to go against the Pharaoh here because if you didn't recall, a direct shot from the Pharaoh could kill you instantly, right? Because you're at 78 health. You could go after the health packs too, whichever one is better. But then I think you would try to go for the health packs first and then go for the Pharaoh afterwards because a random shot could definitely kill you. So it's kind of like back and forth, you know. You can either go the health pack first or you could recall. I wouldn't see a problem with recalling at that point though. There would be no problem.
I got them flanked right now. I got a full flank on them with ult, so as soon as they run in, I'm ulting them.
Alright. Got ult too.
I'm gonna wait till I see a healer and then I'm gonna ult.
Team is kind of stalling here. Oh, there's a D.Va there. That's an enemy D.Va. Okay, focusing her down. I don't know how she actually got past the choke. I think she went towards, she went top. So, but it's okay. It was good that you were kind of on point to try to contest and see if anybody was coming and try to keep him off. That was a good job. Typically what happens is that people hold up a little bit too far when they're about to get the point or when they're about to win the round. And then people just like come from the side and they just like flank them and they get staggered and stuff like that. So, good job.
With these ults, B, come through.
Alright, on to the final point. Your team kind of talked about going towards the right, which is kind of an interesting flank. Haven't done this before.
Alright.
Full flank.
Okay, going a little bit far back, but okay, actually you got a Zen. Interesting. So he probably spawned a little bit late. I've never done that before, but it's kind of interesting. Interesting play from you guys. Okay, nice. Focusing down the soldier. Kind of, okay. Yeah, if your team is helping to focus down the soldier, that's pretty good. But I would say try to leave him if he's in his health pack. Or if he's in his self-heal. Right. But aside from that, I would say try to use your blink melee a little bit more. Melee is really strong, especially when the target's really low. What you can do is you can blink and then melee right in their face right when you're there. It brings them down really quickly. It helps you finish them off, and a lot of the times it's more reliable, especially if they're kind of like mid-range. If you're having trouble tracking them, your melee has a bigger hitbox than your shots do, than your little bullets, right? So if you blink right here, even at this point, you could just blink and then just melee right away, and you would hit him. Or you could just do a blink melee and just do a 180. That would help as well if you need to. Because if you do a melee and if it doesn't hit him, and if you do a 180, it will still hit him because it has a delay, right? If you didn't know, when you melee, you can actually hit multiple people with it because it has a certain interval of time in which it connects. Right? So basically, if you melee somebody and it hits them and you spin around really quickly and there's somebody right behind you, it will hit that person as well. So you can actually hit multiple people with your blink or with your melee. And right here too, you could do a melee blink right here as well, or a blink melee. Perfect timing for you to do it. Help especially if you're reloading, right? Because right now you're reloading, right? And you realize like, oh, he could actually die in a few shots. But since I'm reloading, I can't shoot. What else can I do? I can just blink and I can melee. It interrupts your reload, which is good. And if you find that there's this one little tiny window that you can deal damage, but your weapons are reloading, you can just use it to melee or to blink.
Full flank shit, caught him off guard. You feel me?
They were ready for that.
Nice job.
They were just trying to get to the point as fast as
But yeah, most of my kills are blink melees. A lot of the times, it's usually melee. Usually they're low and they get away and we're like, I'm trying to chase them and I can't kill them and I just blink. And just finish them off. It's usually one of the best ways. Nice recall. Kind of being a little aggressive here at this point though. Very, very, very dangerous. Very dangerous. Typically, when you have your no recall, don't blink in like that. Right? Because you are very vulnerable at this point. You have no way to escape. Right? What if the enemy team just decided to just turn around and just start all attacking you at the same time? Then you're pretty much dead. Even the Zen can solo you on his own. Without a recall, it's dangerous to dive in. At this point, even if you do find yourself diving in, what you can do is you can use this hallway or this entrance as an escape. It's kind of scary because that's where their spawn is, but I don't think anybody died yet on their team recently. So you find yourself in a dangerous situation, or you can just dive back out here too for the health pack. That's fine as well.
Sorry, I flanked them hard though. Get back to point, guys. Get back to point.
But yeah, try not to be too aggressive if you have your recall, or if you don't have your recall. Sticking a diva is also, again, you suck a diva from the front, easily eaten for one. But aside from being eaten, even if you do get a kill or two, it's still kind of bad for you. Let's say you do get a kill on the diva. First of all, it will get her out of mech only, which is okay, I guess. And let's say you do get a kill, which you just did. What happens is that it is a 5v5 because most likely you are not going to be able to kill anybody else when there's 5 people on the point. The only time this would be good is if you see them all super clumped up together and you get like a triple or a quad kill. And then it would be good because it would be uneven. Because right now, if you get a kill and you end up dying because there's like a lot of, there's 6 people and 5 people on point, you can't 1v6 the entire team. Okay. Usually you can. But you end up killing yourself. And right now, you guys are even more down. You guys are down 3 because you died. And they're only down 1. So that bomb would have to kill 3 people total in order for you to be even. Right, so it's kind of a waste. I would say the best thing to do, back off. Save your bomb for the initial fight. So that when you guys go 6v6, you get a bomb with the pick, or you get a pick with the bomb. And then it's a 6v5. And then you go in when you guys are even, or when you guys are up. That's typically what you want to do. Whenever you guys are down, don't try to initiate a fight if it's not going to make a difference. So yeah, the only time I would try to do that is if I know for a fact that it's going to get more than like 2 to 3 kills. It's usually kind of a waste for you to do that if you're like the last one on point, right? But yeah. So you're flanking out to the backside. So nobody really died on the enemy team for this length of time, if you take a look. So since you spawned, right,
yeah, they got a shield though.
Nobody actually died yet. So it was your Mercy that died, and everybody was alive already when you tabbed, right? At this point, everybody would be out onto the point. There would be nobody coming from spawn. So for one, you don't even have to check, and there's not going to be anybody here in this area, so you should know that you're safe. Try to keep track of the kill feed a little bit more. It gives you good information to kind of tell you where people are coming from, where they're going to be at, and where they're not going to be at. So you don't usually use a lot of time to try to check these little tiny corners, you know. It's really useful. Okay. So at this point, the focus should be on the support, if you can. Nice, nice. Okay, you're hacked. Be really safe. Try to be safe here. Alright, stick it behind walls. Nice, nice. Good job, guys. That's nice. Okay. Good take. You're able to take out the Zen, which is really nice. You did get hacked. And once you got hacked, you were hiding, which is good. Don't want to be too aggressive if you have no cooldowns, right? Okay, check him down a little bit. Blah, 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 blah. A little bit too aggressive there. A little ton of vision, but it's okay. Nice. It happens to me sometimes. But try to have a little bit more of awareness. I know it's really nice for you to try to get that juicy kill, but it's usually not worth it if you have to dive deep into the enemy team and they're all like looking at you.
No.
Nice recall. Back off, back off, back off. Ooh.
Goes on the backside of point.
So even at this point, you see the Pharah. Just try to double blink out of here because you don't want to be in here. There's a shield there, there's an Orisa there, and you can't really do much here. So it's really dangerous to be here, especially with all the spam. So even after you use your recall, you do have like a blink or two left. Just blink out. Just blink out. There's no point for you to be there.
Goes on the backside.
Unfortunately, you did get picked off by a rocket, but it's okay.
They're all low. They're all so low.
Clean it up, clean it up, clean it up.
Alright, so what's going on? You guys are down. Okay. Okay, you guys are up now actually because of the fact that the soldier was able to pick people off.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, nice.
Nice, let's go.
Pharah can sometimes be hard to stick, but then she was kind of grounded. Then it seemed like a good choice to bomber, which is okay.
Guys, let's go reap. Let's go reap.
Nice.
Let's go guys. We're
Oh my
almost
god,
there.
he's coming with his ult.
Alright, Zen pop his ult. Right here, since the Zen is already popping his ult, and they're getting a lot of heals, you can't really do much here. I would back off just a little bit because your Roadhog is already contesting. Since your Roadhog is contesting, you don't really have to be on the point to kind of contest. You can be a little bit farther back. The thing is, they can focus you down, or you can even get hacked and you can be kind of screwed. The fact that the Zen is going to be there healing all the damage, you can't really get any picks here. But now that the Zen, the Iris is over, then you can just go back in and can do some damage.
Oh, they're almost dead. Nice.
Oof, risky res, but I actually ended up dying, unfortunately. Okay, so right here, I feel like your D.Va shouldn't be the focus. I guess you're just spamming into her, but either the Lucio would be the best. I think the Lucio would be the best target here.
Standpoint.
Again, ooh, unfortunate.
Almost there, guys.
But yeah, target prioritization. Try to go after the support first. It's normally support, then DPS, then tanks. Unless you're trying to feed or to get ult charge straight off the tanks and then pop your ult on one of the support. Both are okay. But usually I like to go for the support first and then try to go after the DPS whenever, whoever is the most close, honestly. Typically for me, it's whoever is the most close first. And if everybody is kind of like in an enclosed area and they're all next to each other, then go for the support, then DPS, then tank. Because a lot of the times, if you're like right next to a DPS and he's just kind of out of position, you want to go for him first and you want to kill him. But if they're all in one area, support first, then DPS, then tank. It's usually what I like to do. But yeah, overall not too bad. I think you did okay. Your mechanics are, your aim is actually pretty decent, I would say. So mechanically, you're fine. But I think when it comes to target prioritization and positioning, that's what you should be focusing on. Go for the squishier targets. Tanks are usually the last ones for you to go after, unless you know they're kind of low and everybody's focusing that target, right? Yeah, aside from that, don't use your post bomb on tanks. Try not to as much. Try not to get them in by D.Va. That's a big glaring problem. A lot of the times, it's basically a free pulse bomb that's being thrown away on a D.Va. So either if you want to try to stick a D.Va, try to stick it from behind. And if you're trying to stick a Roadhog, always make sure that his self-heal is off cooldown before doing so. But typically I like to stick, the easiest targets for me to stick are Annas, because they like to jump around a lot and they're easy to stick. The easiest time for you to stick a target is when they are jumping, because when they're jumping, you can kind of predict where they're going to be at, right? So if they're jumping, and then right when they jump, you can be like, okay, well, they're going to be here at this moment, so you can kind of just like predict it and you can stick them. So that's another way for you to kind of like get better sticks at the same time. But yeah, overall, just be more aware of your cooldowns. stick to or try to practice your target prioritization. And also try not to stagger as much. I feel like you and your team kind of staggered a lot. You guys could have easily taken a step back and then try to fight the next fight together as a team and be up or make it a little bit faster. You guys did win though. You guys did win, but definitely always looking for ways to improve, even if you did win. And aside from that, yeah, thank you very much, Genpollo, for the submission. I feel like with all those tips in mind, you can probably get platinum pretty quickly. Those are pretty easy problems to fix. Just keep it in the back of your mind, keep watching this over and over, and try to fix those problems. And yeah, I think it'll be fine. But other than that, thanks for watching, guys. If you guys want to, you guys can submit your own gameplay. I typically have a point system on my stream. I've been doing those a lot more recently now instead of the random submissions that I get from YouTube because of the fact that a lot of people are submitting them now, actually. People are racking up those points. So you can catch my stream at twitch.tv/d1bz. Get those points, submit them with a VOD, and I will put yours on, and I will put yours ahead of everybody else's. And yeah, just let me know if you guys want it on YouTube or not. And I'll try to get to them as soon as possible. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about the VOD review and the analysis. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.